A short while ago, I made this logo animation for FastAnne, and today she is using it on her stream as a way for her to display her logo on screen after a scene transition in a more interesting way. In this video, I am going to walk you through the behind the scenes process on how the animation was made, but before we get into this, first things first, if you want to follow FastAnne on her socials, I will leave a link to them down in the description below, including her Twitch channel, which I highly recommend that you check out. And secondly, if you want to watch me live, I stream 2 or 3 times every single week, and the link to my channel is down below as well. When I started animating the logo, I wanted it to be animated as if it was being handwritten. This meant that some of the letters had to be split in two, so I took the logo into Adobe Illustrator, copy and pasted a letter in place, deleted all the unnecessary anchor points, and then I connected what was left. This was done because, like I just said, I wanted the animation to look like it was being handwritten, so I had to animate the logo in the order that the person would write it down, and this meant that I had to split some letters in two in order to animate them separately. With this idea in mind, I also made the decision to animate the two ends as one. This, in my opinion, made it look a lot more natural and improves the overall flow of the animation. Okay, so for the actual animation, we are going to be using Adobe After Effects. Now I know that it looks complicated and that there's a lot going on with all these layers, especially if you're new to After Effects, but the animation is incredibly simple and easy to do. So let's break it down and show you what I mean. So I am going to make a new composition and I'm going to give it a resolution of 1920 by 1080 with a frame rate of 60. And I'm going to drag the FastAnne logo into the composition. One thing to note is that this is an EPS file, which is a vector-based image file, but when you scale up the logo, it starts to look pixelated, almost as if it's a raster image. To fix this, click on this little rasterize button right here. This will make After Effects use the vector information contained in the EPS file. Now you can scale it up all you want and it won't look pixelated at all. However, we are not going to use this file for the animation. Go to Layer, Create, and then click on Create Shapes from Vector Layer. This will create shapes from the logo, which we can then use for our animation and make things a little bit easier. After that, the next step is to separate each element of the logo into its own layer. Click on the small arrow next to the name of the layer and go to Contents. Here, each group represents a separate element from the logo. All we have to do is disable all the elements by clicking on the eye on the left, except for one, so only that letter will be visible, and then rename the layer. We will then copy and paste the layer and then repeat the step for each group. In this video, we are only going to animate the letter T because, quite frankly, it's the simplest. So we are only going to have 2 layers in this project, but it's the same process for any other letter. After that is done, now it's time to actually start animating the logo. We are going to create some more shapes, but this time we are going to create them with the pen tool. After selecting the pen tool, we are going to trace the letter like so. Don't worry about it being precise because it doesn't really matter. Now we have the letter itself, and we also have the outline that is tracing the letter. This outline will be our matte layer and we will animate it to reveal what's underneath it. To do this, we are going to click and drag the outline layer and move it above the letter T layer. And then on the letter T layer, we're going to set the track matte to alpha matte. As you can see, the outline has disappeared, but what it's doing, like we just said, is revealing the original letter underneath it. Now, to animate the outline and make it move, we are going to click on the drop-down menu of the outline layer and add a trim paths effect to the contents. In the trim paths effect, the only parameter that we will be using is the end parameter. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the end parameter to 0%, click on the watch next to it to make a keyframe, go forward a little bit in the timeline, and set the end parameter all the way up to 100%. And that's it. As you can see, all it really is those outlines animating and revealing the letters that are underneath them. This was obviously repeated for each element of the logo, which we won't be doing in this video. It's the same exact thing, just at different points in the timeline. I do want to point out 2 things, however. Number 1, the circle was animated a little differently from the rest. The end parameter was animated like the others, but on top of that, the start parameter was also used, just offset in time a little bit to make it look like it's almost calibrating itself before finally being revealed like the rest of the letters. And secondly, Easy Ease was used on the final letter as well as the circle to make them look a little more interesting, and in my opinion, it concludes the animation in a really nice way. But yeah guys, that's basically it. I'm not very good at explaining things, so I hope I made myself clear. I know that I don't usually make these kinds of videos, usually I make videos about gaming and not motion graphics, but after I made this animation, I had a few people asking me how I did it, and I thought that I might as well make it into a video. Again, if you want to follow FastAnne, which I highly recommend, especially her Twitch, I will leave a link to her socials down below. Also, if you want to follow me, I stream twice or 3 times every single week. Sometimes we do these kinds of things that we talked about today on stream, so if you want to stop by and say hi, the link is down below. We also have a small growing Discord community filled with some very friendly people, so if you want to make some new friends, find someone to play with, or just have a chat, the invite link is down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, whether you watched because you wanted to learn how to replicate this effect, or maybe because you're a fan of Anne's stream and you wanted to see how the animation was done, just thank you. If this video was helpful and informative, subscribe and ring the bell and give the video a thumbs up. Until next time guys, thank you so much for watching, have a nice day, stay safe, and I will catch you in the next one.
Oh. Flank.
Oh, you got this, you got this.
Go from battle.
Nice.
Okay,
Easy.
What?
No!
I don't see it.
I
That's
saw it at the last
unfortunate.
second.
I cannot even see it. I cannot even see it.
That's unfortunate.